The other day I did my first video in a series of videos where I dealt with what's the best handgun ever made, what's the worst handgun ever made, what's the worst new handgun introduced in the last few years, what's the best new handgun introduced in the last few years. Now first off, I dealt with what was the worst handgun ever made. And a lot of people who watch the video know I went with the Kel-Tec PF9. Now, if you watch the video, you also know I didn't do it just because I thought it was the most poorly made gun ever. I thought it had other things that went along with the gun that made it one of the worst guns ever made. Now, I thought that'd piss off more people, but the vast majority of people kind of rolled with it and liked the idea of the video. So now I'm going to do the second one, which is the best handgun ever made. Now, first off, before I go any further, I want to say I almost said the Smith & Wesson J-Frame. The Smith & Wesson J-Frame is a gun that introduced a whole generation of people to a small, carryable gun. If you grew up on cop shows, detective shows, 1960s, 70s, you saw J-Frames all the time. All the good guys carried J-Frames. It was like a little kid, we wanted those J-Frame cap guns. We wanted them badly. You know, we kind of transitioned from the generation before us wanting cowboy guns to our generation wanting those little J-Frame revolvers. Even the ones with the little red round caps, when those came along, those were usually little J-Frames. Because that was the gun of my generation. That gun introduced a whole generation of people to the idea of, hey, I want a little gun that I can carry with me just like the cops do. So that gun was very important to people of my generation, and even to some a little bit before and a little after. So I almost gave the nod to the J-Frame. But when I thought about those same criteria, that whole thing of introducing a generation to the idea of having a gun that they can carry with them, I had to kind of just slightly go another way. So the gun I'm going to have to say is the best handgun ever made is the Glock 19. Now, why am I saying the Glock 19? A lot of people are going to say, yeah, Glocks are really, really reliable, but they're ugly. A lot of people don't like them. A lot of people have problems with them. They're not the most accurate gun ever. Oh, they can't shoot lead, all these other things. But they are reliable, and they are affordable. Well, at least they were affordable when they first came out. Let's deal with when they first came out. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, why the Glock 19, why not the 17? Well, for the reasons I'm choosing it, I think the Glock 17 was great, and it was innovative, but it was a little big for a lot of people. It didn't fit a lot of people's hands. That was really when the 19 came along, that 9mm compact gun that actually fit into the hands of men and women alike, big people, small people, that it really, really hit that sweet spot of gun ownership. Because the reason I'm choosing the Glock 19 is it really introduced a whole generation to seeing that there is a gun that is modern, affordable, reliable, and carryable. Something that they actually saw themselves being able to carry every day. Something they say, hey, I can own that and I can carry it. Not only can I own it because it's affordable, but I can carry it. It's lightweight. It's reliable. It'll save my life if it needs to. It is a good gun. It's not a Raven or a Jennings or, something cheap like that. It's an affordable gun that's a good gun. I mean, Glock really revolutionized the gun industry. They weren't the first to do polymer. They weren't the first to do anything they did. Not any of their designs are really their first. Maybe their trigger safety, maybe. But, they put it all together in a way that, like I said, revolutionized the gun industry. It introduced a whole generation of people to the idea that a gun is something that you can have and carry. In fact, it got to the point where with this generation, Glock is almost synonymous with gun. When they say their gun, they say their Glock. Even when sometimes people will come into gun shops and go, I want to look at your Glocks, and they'll just look at everything polymer, and to them, everything polymer is a Glock. So, it's very pervasive in this culture, in this younger person. So this gun, at a time when gun ownership was starting to wane in this country, when people started not to care anymore, this gun came along and really sparked the interest of a lot of people in a younger generation. I mean, this gun is kind of tactical. It's practical because it's affordable and it's reliable. So it's got a lot of things going for it, and in some ways, it's very cool looking. It's a great accessory. In fact, it actually became kind of an accessory for certain people, and I don't really know if I agree with it being an accessory. But the fact that people are buying a gun and knowing that that gun can be used for self-defense, that gun is a tool that they can use. Let's just say it this way. That Glock it's something that everyone can use as a tool, and it's a tool that everyone can use. Everyone could use a gun at some time. It's great to have one. It's always good, even if it's just for self-assurance, if it's just for feeling comfortable about the fact that you could defend your home if somebody broke in. It's always something that's good about owning a handgun. And this gun really made that possible for a whole new generation of people, a whole new group of people. In fact, it just sparked the interest of a whole new group of people. Those same people that are today seeing the Glock and going, wow, that's something I want. That's just like me when I was a kid and I saw the J-frame. So the reason that it's used to be affordable. I'm not going to say they're as affordable now as they should be, but when they came out, they were a very affordable gun. They were a very lightweight gun. They were a very practical gun, a very reliable gun. They revolutionized the polymer gun, period. They introduced a whole new generation of people into the idea of having a gun, like I said, that not only can they own, but they can carry. So for that reason, and that reason alone, that's why I have to say the Glock 19 is the best handgun ever. You ain't even my real dad.